Yeah, let's get right into the news, and let's start off in the world of the NFL because, Dallin, we had a big sale going on, a sale that we've anticipated coming for a while. It's finally been finalized. In fact, it was unanimously voted by other NFL owners on last Thursday. The that approved the sale of the Washington Commanders. Dan and Tanya Snyder, who were the former owners, have officially sold the team to a partnership that was led by Josh Harris. To become the new owners of the Washington Commanders for a record-setting price of $6.05 billion. This is a sale that we've anticipated coming for a long time. Of course, there's been all the accusations against Dan Snyder and the Washington organization, how they conduct their business there. And Dallin, all I could say is it's about damn time that we got Dan Snyder out of the league. And you know what? The fact that the NFL owners unanimously have voted to approve this sale says a whole hell of a lot about what the other NFL owners think about Dan Snyder and the way he was running things over in Washington. I think that this is a long time coming, a great sale. Obviously, Dan Snyder is going to make out like a bandit, but, at the same time, I don't think that this is the end of the road for him as far as legal battles go. I'm just glad that it's not going to be a part of the NFL anymore, and that we could, when it comes to talking about the Washington Commanders, we can solely focus on football now.
Yeah, honestly, it's good riddance for Dan Snyder, and hallelujah for Washington fans who have been stuck with the worst owner in professional sports for multiple decades now. And hopefully this is a new era for this Washington football team. And I don't mean to use their former name, although Josh Harris, the new, owner, did hint at the possibility of them changing the name and going back to Washington football team or finding a new identity as part of this new ownership and this new era, in fact, in Washington. And I do think it is a new era and a much needed era for Washington. This ownership group led by Josh Harris, he is a part owner already of the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA and the New Jersey Devils in the NHL. He's from Washington, D.C. He said he grew up going to games as a fan. So hopefully that means that this franchise now is an owner that's looking out for the fans first and foremost, and that will lead to further success. So I feel very happy for Washington fans. I hope this is the first step in a great new direction for them. And, Magic Johnson's a part of this ownership group randomly enough, it's like, odd assortment, but it should be good. And congrats to Washington for this, and good riddance to Dan Snyder.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Magic Johnson. I think any team sale we're going to see across sports, I think the only one he doesn't own in is actually the NBA. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a part of the partnership to buy some NBA team, and he's a part of that.
When him and LeBron get when LeBron gets the Vegas franchise, Magic's a part owner on that.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. No, but you also mentioned the name change, and quite honestly, I would welcome that. It's chaotic because it's like, God, we just went through 2 years, almost 3 years to try to figure out what the name's going to be. And then they're going to change it again after one season. I'm like, bring it on, because Commander sucks as a name. So they need something better than that. They deserve something better than that. They deserve better branding than that, because that's a historic franchise. So I'd be excited if he's hinting at that and really wants to pursue changing the name again. I am 100% supportive of that.
Yeah, all exciting to have a new direction in Washington. And again, for that franchise to just moving on from Dan Snyder is a big win, but hopefully this new ownership group led by Josh Harris brings some good positive energy moving forward for them. The other bit of NFL news, though, Mitch, is signing, one that we've been anticipating for a minute, a very talented player that has been checking it out, the free agency waters, testing, seeing where he'd go. But DeAndre Hopkins has signed a deal to join the Tennessee Titans. So 2-year deal worth up to $15 million in the first year. This came down a bit ago, but obviously we didn't get a chance to talk about it here on the podcast. But he met with New England, right? We knew New England was a possibility. Obviously, Baltimore, Kansas City, you could list any contender. They could theoretically be in the mix for him, but money and, that was going to be a big factor for him. Tennessee was a bit of a surprise for me. It makes so much sense for Tennessee because their wide receiver core is anemic.
Poo-poo.
It's awful. So
yeah,
this is awesome. It's great for Treylon Burks. I mean, now to get some attention off of you, now you don't have to be the only one getting attention in this passing game. You get some relief. I mean, it's great for the team. Surprising, I think, for Hopkins. And I would think, oh, go to a contender. Why not go to KC? Why not go to Baltimore? Baltimore obviously signed OBJ, but I think I like this fit a lot for Tennessee. I was a little bit surprised, though, from the D-Hop perspective.
Yeah, I like it for both parties, honestly. I mean, this is exactly what Tennessee needed, and I think it's exactly what D-Hop needed. I think he needed to go to an offense that where he could be showcased as the number one wide receiver, because I think that's where he shines the best. I think if he went to this would never happen, but as an example, if he went to a Las Vegas, I don't think he would transition well into a number two there very well. I think that this is exactly what he needed to go be number one somewhere. And honestly, that's great. This is great for the quarterback room, right? Ryan Tannehill is kind of not, but kind of is fighting for a starting job. Like, there's some heat behind him, right? With Malik Willis and Will Levis, there's some heat behind him. So it's not like he's like 95% got it locked up, but it's not 100%. So to bring in a guy that can be a reliable weapon for you, that you can consistently target and have the confidence in to deliver the ball in tight spots to, that does a world of wonder for a quarterback. So I think this is a great fit for D-Hop, for the Titans, for Ryan Tannehill, and for the Titans organization as a whole. This is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, 100%. Great fit for Tennessee. And I mean, D-Hop's still got some work left in him for sure. At least a couple of seasons where he could be a really good talent, and we'll see how that helps Tennessee. And what should be a wide open AFC South. Obviously Jacksonville should be the favorite, but it's not like anyone's got that wrapped up. So why not Tennessee if you're looking at it for their perspective? So love that for them.
Yeah, absolutely love that for them. Dallen, out of the world of the NFL, let's get into the world of the NBA, because we had a record-setting deal down that, honestly, when I saw the numbers of this, my eyes about popped out of my head. Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, formerly of the Boston Celtics, and also now currently of the Boston Celtics, has re-signed with the Boston Celtics on a 5-year, $304 million Supermax extension, which will be fully guaranteed with a trade kicker as well. But the final year will not include a player option. This is per Shams Charania. We talked about, I think we talked about not too long ago about what the Boston Celtics need to do to make that push to become a perennial finals contender and an NBA champion. And we had kind of toyed with the idea of Jaylen Brown maybe not being a part of that equation. It appears now that Boston really wants him to be a part of that equation. So this is hey, Jaylen went and got the bag, dude. He went and got the bag. This is great for him. I think this puts a lot of restrictions on what Boston can do after that starting five, and what they're going to be able to do depth-wise. But they locked in probably their second best player for a long time. It just feels weird that you're using this large of a supermax on your second best player on the team, and you're not doing it with a Jason Tatum type guy. It just feels a little funny to me.
Yeah, it's always interesting. And I think the context is important, because I think a lot of people have the visceral reaction of, well, Jaylen Brown's not even the best player on his team. How is he making the biggest contract in NBA history? He gets this deal, which is, worth up to $303.7 million over 5 years. He gets this deal. He's eligible for this deal. It's based on the rise in salary cap and league revenue. That's how these max contracts are work. They're a percentage of the salary cap, and they're extrapolated out based on revenue projections for the future. So whoever was going to be eligible for the Supermax next was going to get this contract. Jaylen Brown just happens to be the guy next in line and gets to benefit from this in a huge way. Obviously, he gets to make a lot of money. The last guy to sign this contract was Nikola Jokic. His extension was 276 million. So you're talking about, it's like $25-30 million difference in an increase. So imagine the next guy to sign a max contract, what they'll end up with. So it is interesting, though, because as you said, I mean, team building moving forward, like you've now committed to Tatum and Brown. So it's got to work. And we've had questions about that duo. Can it work at the highest level? Can it win you a finals? Those two guys as the catalyst for your team. And well, Boston believes they can. And I get it. They've taken them to the finals. They didn't get it done, but they've gotten there with that young duo. So why not believe in them? Time will tell, but this is the future for Boston. It's set. So it's got to work or it's not. And that's the gamble they're taking.
Yeah. And I think probably a good gamble on their part. I think that they have two very talented guys locked up right now for the next few years. So congrats to Jaylen Brown. You got the bag, dude.
Absolutely.
And the Boston Celtics continue to get to keep their young duo and see if they can make a push for another NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Dallen, some college football news.
Yeah. This is fun news. This actually just came down or has begun this afternoon. Again, we're recording this on July 26th on Wednesday. So you're hearing about this. Your context for this news may be very different than ours at this very moment. Keep that in mind. But reports this afternoon and evening are that Colorado is considering and or planning on making the move to the Big 12 from the Pac-12 conference. This is per Pete Thamel, who reports for Yahoo and ESPN. He said his sources are saying Colorado is in discussions about a move to the Big 12, and the school has just completed a board meeting and scheduled another one for tomorrow. That would be Thursday, the 27th, to discuss the move. The Big 12 is also holding a president's meeting tonight on the 26th, where there's expected to be an expansion update. Brett McMurphy, a college football insider of Action Network, has gone on to report that his sources are saying it is a done deal, that it's all but, ceremony at this point. Colorado will be making the move to the Big 12, that they will be going in 2024, and they will be getting the full $31.7 million per school in the media deal as the remaining members of the Big 12 schools, which would indicate to us that they saw the Big 12 media deal, which has not been announced. We don't know any news about that or what that number comes in at, but it would mean to us that they saw that number and said the Big 12 can get us more money, and that's better for us in the long run. Or that this media deal is nowhere to be found, and Colorado is saying enough with it. Let's take what we know is guaranteed with the Big 12. So fascinating stuff. Again, by the time you may be listening to this, they might have announced it. It might be more official than it is now, or this might have just all been smoke in a big whoop of nothing. It seems pretty legit. Again, people are reporting this pretty seriously at this point, and a lot of this has been rumor with Colorado to the Big 12. So I think it's safe to say at this point it is fairly substantial and certainly worth being interested in and monitoring if you're following college football. It would obviously shake up a lot of things. So, Mitch, just your reaction to the potential of Colorado in the Big 12 and what it means for that conference and what it means for the future of the Pac-12.
Well, I think this is the death of the Pac-12. I think that it seems funny saying that Colorado is going to be the final nail in the coffin, but right. I think that, now they're looking at not enough teams to support a conference by themselves. Like they're going to have to get a lot of other support of people coming to the Pac-12 with USC and UCLA leaving, with Colorado leaving now. This is going to be, it's down to like Oregon, the Oregon schools, the Washington schools, and the Arizona schools. That's going to be, and Stanford, I guess. But, that's going to be about it. It just seems like it's the final nail in the coffin for the Pac-12. We may be talking about Power 4 conferences instead of Power 5 conferences before too long. I do think, though, that it's a little funny that Colorado thinks they could just move over to the Big 12 and everything's going to be hunky-dory. From purely a competition standpoint, not necessarily the money and, the media rights and all that stuff. From a competition standpoint, bros, you can't even hang in the Pac-12.
Yeah, facts.
What makes you think you can go hang in the Big 12? Like, this just doesn't, like, from a competition
It's not about competition. No,
it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's purely about money. But from a competition standpoint, I'm like, you're burying yourselves if this doesn't work out with Dion. This doesn't work out with Dion. And like, I really want it to work out with Dion. I want him to bring that program to relevance and be successful to the highest degree. Right. But it's just not feasible right now with where that program's at. Like, there's still a lot of building that has to happen. And even in 2024, there's still going to be building to do. And for you to jump from arguably the weakest conference in college football to basically take a step up and think you're ready for that step competition wise, you're just not. I'm sorry. I understand it's about money, but competition wise, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, they've already been floundering and I mean, borderline irrelevant, right, in the Pac-12 since they joined not that long ago. But I do think it makes more sense culturally, geographically, Colorado,
sure it does,
especially now that BYU is in the Big 12, and that's what makes most sense for that conference. You're already in the Mountain Time Zone, and BYU sticks out like a sore thumb out there by themselves on an island. Right now, you bring in Colorado. Now you have a natural rival. Now you pair them up. You got two Mountain Time Zone teams. The travel, it's easy. It's like boom. That solves a huge problem for them. And I think, obviously they were in this conference before. They know the drill. They fit in they have history with these other teams. And so they're not going to have the issues that Houston and UCF and BYU and Cincinnati are going to have of establishing rivalries and actually, fan bases starting to hate or like each other. You've got to create that over time. That you've already got a history there, which is great. If this does happen, this is not the only thing. This will not be the only move because the Pac-12 obviously is not going to stay at 9. The Big 12 is not going to go just to 13. They would feasibly have to go to at least 14. So does that mean another Pac-12 school decides to jump ship as well? Does that mean that San Diego State or SMU is now getting an invite to the Big 12 and getting elevated to that level? Like, how does the Pac-12 react to that? There are so many dominoes to potentially be out of this, and we'll have plenty of time to speculate on those. But I am with you, my friend. This would be the death knell for the Pac-12 as we know it. Because I think feasibly it result in them at the best case scenario ending up at 8 teams, and then having the fear of Oregon and Washington getting poached by the Big Ten in the future. And that's just, bad news bears for the Pac-12. So we'll be monitoring this. This is a fascinating story. And again, this is all kind of coming out on the 26th as we're recording this on Wednesday night. So we'll see what the news looks like for the next couple of days.
Hey, the Pac-12 was known as the Pac-8 for a long time. So,
they were already had to go back to the Pac-10. They might have to go back even further is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. Welcome to the Mountain West. Maybe there's enough teams maybe the Mountain West will just absorb them and they'll become the next Power 5 conference.
Just form a 20-team mega Pac conference. Call it the Pac conference and just form a 20-team conglomerate with the Mountain West. I mean, that would be
honestly, I don't hate that.
That'd be the only way to save it. Just be like, that's our play. Is we just have everything out here. This is all Pac. This is all Pac conference, and that's our shtick. Wouldn't be bad. They should hire us. I'm just saying.
Maybe we'll get Hawaii and stuff like that in a major conference for once.
There you go.
The one-off year that they happen to win like 10 games, that we can they can get some publicity because they're in the
college football playoff. Love it. All right, Mitch. One bit of news here. Last bit of news here. Just a quick mention and a shout out to Brian Harmon for winning his first major at the Open at Royal Liverpool Golf Club. Historic Royal Liverpool. Brian Harmon just dominated the weekend. He had a 5-stroke lead on Friday and just pretty much never relinquished it. Cruised to this Open Championship, and it was extremely impressive to watch. Harmon, a longtime pro who just never really cracked the top and put it all together here last week at the Open with a 6-stroke victory, 13 under. Second place was 7 under. So just dominated. You love to see it. Final major of the year at the Open, and Brian Harmon takes it home.
You just love to see those stories of the guys that have been on the tour for 10, 12, 14 years. They just haven't quite put it all together, and they finally get that one weekend where everything just goes right. And he played out of his mind. I mean, he played out of his mind. He wins by 6 strokes. Brian Harmon, well done on the first major. I mean, you almost want to start. I almost want to start putting like odds on who's the next first time winner.
I love that.
Like, has Tommy Fleetwood won one? I don't know. I don't
He
think
has
so.
not. He
No.
has not. He's
Like-
a guy that's been really close, you know. Tony Finau's a guy, he was not close here,
Tony
but he's a guy
Finau.
that's been top 10 a bunch of times that people say, oh, he's got to be one of the next ones. Fleetwood's
Louis
a great one.
Oosthuizen, like, you know, just start picking like, is Louis Oosthuizen one? No, he hasn't.
I'm pretty sure he won. Maybe he's won one.
I don't know.
I feel like he's won a Masters, but either way, yeah, it is fun to see Brian Harman take it home and just dominate too. It was like unquestioned. There's no luck in this. There was no like, you know, oh, he got,
Right.
you know, somebody collapsed and he lucked into a win. No, he earned that, and very impressive. So shout out to him, Brian Harman.
Yes, very shy.
Good old American taking home the claret jug over there in England. You kind of love that. You know, you kind of love that. We're going to take your championship trophy back home. We'll see you in a year.
That's right. Louis Oosthuizen has won before.
He won a Masters?
No, I don't think it was a Masters.
Oh,
but
I thought it was. There you go.
He has one career win, one PGA Tour win. I have no idea.
There you go.
Is.
Shout out to him.